Hi guys, thank you for joining me on this little presentation. As you can see on this image, there's a ball with a sort of lensing effect. It's bringing the background into focus. But yeah, this log and the ball's in focus, the background's blurred out, and the image on the ball's actually reversed as well. But I want to see if I can explain to you what's going on and the way I do think the world outside there is actually presenting itself to us, the way the world is presenting itself to us. So let me show you here what I want to actually show you. So what I'm showing here, let's have a look at this image first. They are very different images with different effects here, but this is quite a nice example to show you what I'm going to be explaining now. So what I think is going on here, or what looks like is going on here, is these are two separate images in one. I think that you can see that the water is in focus as well as this background is in focus. What I'm suggesting is that this line over here where the water meets this image, that is the focus point. I'm going to explain what I mean by that in a bit. But I do think that this is an image and this section here is an image. And let me try explain to you what I think is going on here. You will see on this little representation that I've drawn here is, I'll call this now the Atmos conditions. They're not separated exactly like this, but I'll try explain as best I can. I'm not very good with my words. I'm going to be using the word focus point, which is probably also known as a vanishing point. When I talk of magnification and lensing, I do basically use them as one, unless I try explain what I mean by the one or the other. But if I use the word magnification and lensing, I'm talking of one and the same thing. So what I'm suggesting here is this blue circle here is if you look outside, this is your current atmosphere conditions. And say now you jump into a swimming pool, you can it's blurry, but you can, for instance, see your hand in front of you. You can see another person swimming down there, a little bit further away from you, whatever. But you get to a point where it's just too blurry and it becomes one just blurred image. So the same thing is what I'm trying to present here. So these two red lines is if you got no glasses on, you got no telescope, you got nothing. This is just your bare eyes looking outside. This is a top view. You standing in the center over here. You'll see a viewing point or camera. But we are standing over here and we're looking towards the horizon, which I'm saying this is the horizon, which will be this section here. This is what is known as the horizon, vanishing point, and I'm going to call it the focus point. So this circle, let's go back here. So these two different colors here is basically the lens effect that I'll be talking about, where we get, when you zoom in, you're going to get to this focus point. Sometimes it's further, sometimes it's closer. There are I'll see if I can get an image of that as well later on in this presentation to explain what I'm meaning there. But let's go back and let's just start with one thing at a time. So we standing in the center point over here where my mouse is. These yellow lines is now we're taking a telescope, a zoom camera, something that can zoom forward, that can bring the further point closer to us, or we basically going to it. But yeah, so these two yellow lines are we zooming into that focus point. I'm suggesting that this section here where my mouse is this is now atmos conditions, and there's water vapor or water in the atmos, and it's creating a magnification. So we, for instance, in this magnified lens, in these conditions, but we get to a point where we seeing this being magnified to this focus point. So let me scroll down here. So in pink here, I'm saying everything within this section of the atmos, or atmosphere, however you want to call it. From there to there, there's a certain amount of focus. So if you take a telescope, for instance, there's thickness of glass, or you take a magnifying glass, the thickness of the glass, the curve of the glass will determine or influence the type of magnification that you're getting, and it'll bring it to the front of that piece of glass. I'm not saying that there's glass around us here, I'm just saying that that is a focus point of where that magnification is coming to. So this is a side view, by the way. We're standing over here and we're looking towards the horizon, and we're seeing that focus point. I'm going to try show you here what I'm trying to present is, so yeah, I'm pointing these lines. There's that focus point. I'm not saying this whole section is the focus point. Sort of am saying that whole section, but this does become narrower and wider, but that is also going to be explained a little bit later what I think is going on there. But everything above this waterline is the separate image, and that's the focus point that I'm saying goes all the way around us, left to right. If you do a 360 view around you, you're going to see this focus point. So yeah, if you pan to the right here, this focus point will go around, all the way around you. And I'm saying that it also on the side view here is going from that focus point all the way above you to behind you and to left and right. So it's a full 360 panoramic view, however you want to call it. So let's have a look here. I hope that is explaining it well. If you want, you can take a screenshot of that to maybe look back to, if I'm not very good at explaining things, but if you want to take a screenshot and try and understand what I'm trying to show on this drawing and these photos, have a look at that. But maybe later in the presentation you will see how I'm getting to this idea, model, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, that's that. So what I'm suggesting as well, what I'm suggesting is that this focus point, vanishing point, this distance can move forward and backwards. Let's see. So this, what I'm trying to present on this image here, this circle can get bigger or smaller depending on the atmos conditions, so that will affect this lens effect as well, where this can bring the image push the image further back, or actually what's happening is this viewpoint here, this lensing will be pushed further back or come closer towards you, which you will be able to see in these images. The photographer of this does confirm that these are in the same position on different days. So what I'm trying to present is that the waterline is, or the lensing effect has been brought, has been pushed further back. Yeah, how do I, that's why I mean I'm struggling to use my words. Okay, let's not use that image. It is a bit blurry, so I do struggle to see where the exact point of that focus line is, but there are some more images. Yeah, let's have a look. This is that image that I used in the first picture. More or less the same lining there, but I do think there's different magnifications going on here. Also, what I'm trying to say is that you'll see that this waterline, the images, so the horizon line here looks the same, but I'm not saying that this is exactly the same height. It's all depending on the magnification. That circle that I'm presenting over here is getting bigger or smaller. So that circle will get bigger, so that's the lens opening up and closing. And let's go back here, and that's why this waterline, this horizon line, this vanishing point, focus point is moving in the image, because it's a 2D image, up or down, but what I mean is further away or closer towards you, and that's why we're seeing these different images. If you do measurements on the drawings or on the houses here, for instance, there will be different sizes. The tree lines will be different. I've been looking at images now for about 2.5 years, not every day, all day, just in the spare time that I have. And I've been noticing the same trend, and that was part of the puzzle piece, or the pieces that I was trying to put together to confirm that I am seeing what I'm seeing. But what I'm trying to say here is that these images are in the exact same place on different days, so different conditions, and you'll see the waterline is changing. So that's not curvature of the Earth. I'm not saying that the Earth is a ball or that it's flat. I just want to present what I want to show you here. Let me go back to this drawing. Is it this one? No. Let's have a look here. That's the magnification. I'm just going through a list here as well, making sure I am covering everything. But like I did say, I'm not the best at explaining these sort of things. But I'm going to try my best, and hopefully you guys can understand what I'm trying to present. So I'm not too sure if I did mention this. I don't think that you are able to say shine a laser from the viewer's position now onto that house, or you won't be able to zoom in and with a super high quality telescope you won't be able to zoom in and see what's going on in that TV room or whatever one of these rooms are, onto that balcony. I think because this is a separate image to this bottom image, this is basically a 2D image. So we will only be able to magnify and make things bigger, but we won't be able to go into that room. For instance, if there was a boat on this water, you'll be able to zoom in, because this is within our viewpoint, within that circle that I'm showing over here. We get a 3D representation in this world here, or in this viewpoint we get a 3D representation here. On this focus point we're getting a 2D representation. So I'm saying that if you had to zoom in with the best telescope, whatever, you will only be able to make this bigger. Like I'm zooming in here, it'll just get bigger and bigger and bigger, but you won't be able to go into that actual room because it's a 2D representation. So just another example of boats not being able to go over the horizon is I will bring up a video here. So here's a video. I'm going to be fast forwarding a little bit. I will leave the links in the description of where you can go view these videos yourself. There are plenty from various YouTube videos and YouTubers, or whatever you want to call them. So it's not just this particular day that this happens. It does happen very often. This is just a great example, and let me show you what I'm talking about here. So this boat, you'll see, is on that horizon line, or that focus point, vanishing point, but it never goes. You don't see the actual boat going over that, what they would claim as the curve, because they reckon this is being refracted up, what we're seeing in the background here, where I'm saying no, this is two separate images, this is a magnification lens. What I do think is happening here is this boat might already be in that lens effect, and that's why it's not actually going over, but I do think it's already in that lensing effect. If you had to zoom into that boat, I don't think you would be able to, for instance, zoom into the cabin. You only got a 2D image of that boat. If this boat was a bit closer to you, I do think you'll be able to zoom into that cabin, for instance. I'm going to fast forward here a bit, or let's see when it goes. You'll see that the boat goes past this buoy, or whatever that thing is in the water, because this is in our focus point at the moment, in this water's lines focus point. But there's another focus point that's coming up here, or another buoy. And what I find interesting with this is it looks like this buoy, let's go back here again, it looks like it's actually closer towards us, and you would think that this boat would go past it, and this would be closer to us, and this will be in front of the boat, but it doesn't actually happen. But in the next image, when it goes past it, it looks like it pops back in front of you. So watch on this section here, you see it looks like it's actually almost coming through the boat, and that's basically what I'm saying, that this is already in the lens, or the magnification lensing effect on that focus point, and this comes all the way around you. So that was just one example I wanted to show there. This is from the same YouTuber, or a photographer, and you can see there's this left or right movement going across on this lensing effect. On the waterline here is where I'm saying now this is in the camera focus. The actual focus point, I think, is actually just below this over here where my mouse is, and this is becoming lens effect. You do sometimes see multiple lens effects, so you'll have the sometimes another line going through here, so it's basically magnifying the next lens into this lens. That is, you do see it. It's just not very common to find that footage, but you do see that footage, and it's actually very awesome to see that footage. But I want to fast forward, because later in this image, in this video, there's actually a very clear distinction of what I'm showing here on this one. So you can see it. No, you need to have definition in the background. You won't easily see it on a plain section here where it's like a purpley color. You would need to have this sort of darker or some sort of definition in the image to see these lines, but you can clearly see it's going from left to right. You see it over here as well. So sometimes you see it going from right to left, and on this particular channel, I'll leave the link in the description. There's some footage where the photographer points to the right. He actually pans around to the right, pans around to the left, and I do predict that if you do a full 360 view, this left to right movement will be going. It'll be circling the observer, or from that viewpoint, it'll be circling around you. And what I'm saying here is that over on this line over here is where the waterline stops, and we are seeing this lens effect, which is on this image of mine here that I've drawn. So we're seeing that point there, and then this is that magnification that we're seeing, and that on the side view, that left to right movement is going on this line here, but I'm saying it's going all the way around you, so it's like a big circle circling around you, and that is what I'm observing. So there we go. That's what I was showing on that image there. So yeah, this is the other video I wanted to show. I call it a treadmill. I have had some people come back to me to say, no, it's not, that's not happening. Great, if you guys can, I don't want to say prove me wrong, but if you can show where I've made mistakes or where things don't work out what I'm saying, that's what I'm looking for. But what I see is what is being presented to me from what I see from my observations. But like I said early on, you get different lens effects. So these road ones, this is a very localized lensing effect. But these road ones, you get those multiple ones where I say you'll have that focus point in different places. So you're getting a lens plus another lens effect and another lens effect. So you'll see, for instance, here in the front is where I'm saying there's that focus point. There's another one over here, there's another one over there, there's another one back out over there. So I think there's different thickness of lenses, but because it's local, it's not these massive wide lensing effects that we see on the horizon. But I call this a little treadmill because these people look like they're walking in the same place. So yeah, have a look at this video. You'll see what I mean here. So these people look like they're walking on the same place, going nowhere. That's cyclists as well. But you'll notice that they, for a moment, they shoot forward onto the next lens, and they will shoot forward into the next lens. This chick on the right here, she's also walking in the same place, having a good exercise on her road treadmill. I thought this is quite funny, or not funny. I think it's quite an interesting video. And there is a funny picture that I wanted to show with a zombie apocalypse. Let's say, where they say, how do you keep zombies out? Now let me keep this video playing while I look for that zombie image. Hold on a sec here. Where did I put that? excuse the silence. Just want to find that picture. No. Oh, here we go. So I'm going to pause that. I'm going to no, not this image. I do apologize. It is this one. So they say, how do you protect your home in a zombie apocalypse? And then there's these treadmills, and here's your home. And it's I just find it quite fitting that these treadmills are around you or around your house, almost like a little barrier circle. And I'm saying that that's that focus point that they can't get into, and they just keep walking through that lens. I just found that quite fitting. Let's see what else I wanted to present. Oh yes, this was the sun. Let's get this one open. Okay, so this is a sunset. Quite a good video as well. You can see multiple of these on the internet as well. You can also go film your own ones. I do have a sunset video myself. It's just not as good quality as this photographer is taking, so I am using their videos. But if you have a look, I'm just fast forwarding a bit. Like I say, I will leave the links in the description that you can go view them yourself. But I just want to get to a point of where you'll see the sun going down, but it's starting to flatten out. And yeah, this is where I'm saying it's actually probably more or less over here is where that focus point would be, maybe even lower. It's just a little bit too dark, too blurry. But yeah, you're actually seeing that movement from right to left, like we saw in that other video where we saw it going left to right. This time this is moving from right to left, but you'll see the sunset. You don't see a round tip on the top. It flattens out, which is very, very interesting. I'm just going to fast forward here a bit, but the sun doesn't physically go over, or doesn't go over a physical horizon. Why is this thing circling now? But you get what I'm saying here. It's flattening out. It's not a little round tip on the top. There we go. Let's see when it actually finally disappears. You see what I mean there? It's not a tip. It's actually on a flat section or up above there. So that's something I wanted to bring up. Let me show you the angle drawings. So there's various ideas that I have of it, but I think just for a basic explanation I'm going to show you here. If you see that you get that mirroring effect, or I think it's known as an inferior mirage, where you see that mirror and inverted reflection. I'm suggesting it could be depending on that atmos conditions. Let's get this image open here again. Depending on the way the vanishing point and the horizon, your viewpoint, this section on the corner here, depending on this angle, I think is also going to be influencing the focus point that where that mirroring happens. So on a basic angle like that, it's not going to be very wide, and on this sort of image here, or this sort of angle here, you'll get a bit more of a mirroring effect, or stretching, and on a more rounded section you'll get a wider mirroring effect over there, as you see there. This is all speculation. I haven't confirmed anything, but this is what I'm observing and trying to put everything together. So that's something I wanted to bring up. I actually made a little meniscus video as well, because I was experimenting with this about 3 years ago, and I lost all those videos, so I put this together just the other day again, just to keep it documented. But here's a little video that I put together. Once again, I'm not claiming that this is exactly what it looks like. I'm just trying to show the effects of what this can do. So I don't know what it looks like from the bottom here, but once again, I'm not trying to say this is what it looks like. I'm just trying to represent if there is that sort of visual dome. I don't like to use the word dome, but if I use the word dome, you more or less know what I'm talking about. But if we got that visual dome around us to that focus point, it will look something like this. So that lensing effect that we're getting the view from. So if you're looking through the lens, that bending of the visual is what I'm trying to represent here. And also what I picked up is it was quite interesting. There's a little when I'm showing the little sun, looks like it bounces around in the water inside the glass. Yeah, I'm just showing you there's a meniscus. So yeah, and I'm using my cell phone's light, and check there. It actually looks like it's bouncing around in the glass. I tapped the glass as well to show this is not CGI. You can actually test this yourself as well. But what I'm trying to represent on this, you'll see now, is what I find interesting is the way this that light, well, I'm going to say the sun, is bending, going flat on those corners. And you'll also notice that if you go look outside at a sunset, sometimes the sun takes very long to actually set, to disappear. But during the day, it's like a constant speed. It almost looks like it's going fast during the day, and then on sunset, it just slows down. And on this video, you sort of see what's happening. You see how it shoots across the top, but it's slow as it gets to the curve, the more severe curved edge. So that's what I want to represent there. I'll play this video again though. So have a look here. Very, very interesting. It's just a little observation that I had. And wanted to add that into this little presentation. So like I'm saying, I'm not saying this is what it looks like. I'm just I'm not saying this is what it is. I'm just saying I'm trying to represent what I think is what it's looking like, what's actually happening through that lens. So you can actually see the little sun over there. See how slow it gets on the edge. And there it goes again. Very, very interesting little mini experiment that you can do at home as well. That's my meniscus video. Oh, then I wanted to show the sky colors. I did a similar, well, I used this little I don't generally do presentations, but I using the same document here, which I was in a little presentation discussion with some guys on the Discord. But let me show you here is the different sky colors. So here's, for instance, a orangey reddish sky. There's a this is actually from a green flash sunset video, which will also come up later in my explanation what I think is going on here. But you'll see it is well documented. You get different color skies. So red skies, blue skies, green skies, purple skies, and so on and so forth. But here's, for instance, a red sky. Here's a green sky during a storm. Here's just my own photograph. I put this in here just to give an idea of the purple light. And there's a little lightning strike that caused it. It was a sky night. So this is not the sky being purple, but I'm just going to show you the colors. But there are documentation of purple skies as well. Yeah, I just wanted to show those sky colors because I wanted to give you an idea of what I think I'm seeing. So let me add this image first. So here's a little rainbow. What I find interesting as well, what I found quite awesome, is that there's a user that I sometimes chat to, New Perspective on the on Discord. He actually posted this image. And I said, wow, this looks a lot like a drawing that I drew. I counted these lines and or these spaces here, and there's 7 of them. And I reckon this could be a representation of a rainbow. I actually don't know where this image, what this image is about. I didn't do any research in this image. I just found it quite fitting on what I drew, where I'm saying that here's that little personal view dome. Here's your focus point, which is all the way around you here. It could even be inside here. I don't know what's going on over here, but I just found this quite fitting over here. This view here with the seven different layers, which I'm going to explain in my image that I drew. So I drew it in my book, and then I just quickly went into Paint and made something that I could show on the computer here. So these are the colors of the rainbow in order, and two ideas that I have as idea 1 and idea 2, where they talk about the stars and moon in the firmament, which I'm putting over there, and then I've got one where the stars and moon are not within a physical little circle thingy around you. But what I think is going on is, on the traditional flat earth map, you got the circle with more lands. It's not a little disc floating in space, it's just a circle land, and I think that, or melted out pond, ice pond, has been melted out by the sun circling around it. But that's the model I'm talking about here now. Is now the stars, I reckon, are going in that circle, or circling around you. Wait, I actually might have an image of that. I'll get back to that. So anyways, the stars are circling around that center star, which is Polaris, and then the sun and moon, I think, are going vertically across. There's a channel called FPV Angel, which does a great explanation of how the sun and moon go through the 12, or the sun goes through the 12 gates. I can't even remember if he talks about the moon going through the different gates, but it moves over straight across the plane Earth, and then it pops out on the other end through gates. So yes, I know it is a bit far-fetched with the teleportation thingy. Yeah, I'm not claiming to know how this is all working. I still need to do those sort of observations, but the reason why I brought this up is just to get an idea of what I think how the light works. So the way we get light. So I don't think the sun is yellow. I think light is like a bright white. Light is light, and for instance, if you take a light bulb and you paint it purple and you shine that light bulb, you're going to have a purple light coming out. If you paint that light bulb green, it's going to be green light coming out. So I think we get our mixture of colors through the different atmosphere, atmospheric layers up above there, the 7 heavens, or whatever you want to call it. And here's our little personal dome that I talk about, or visual dome, not a physical glass dome, just a visual dome. And the light coming through from above is why we see red, blue, green, browns. You can mix the different colors to get other colors and different shades of colors. So I think that is how we're getting those colors from above, and I also think that is why we are limited to those colors, and might even explain why we have rainbows. So I do have an image of a rainbow here. So what I think is going on here is, because I say that the focus point and above is a 2D representation from the lensing effect, everything within here will have a 3D perspective, or 3D view, and that's why you are able to walk to a rainbow. There's people that drive through rainbows, and so on. There's quite a lot of footage of that. So I think we are getting a projection of the different layers above in our 3D world here. So that's what I wanted to show and touch on over there. That's the rainbow drawing. Some random observation. Oh yes, so I did a little. I'm not too sure if you guys are aware of the Crow 777 lunar wave over the moon. I'll see if I can actually find that, but let me show you here. Paste and go. So I've been messing around with these little lunar wave ideas. So what I have is a bowl of water with a light source underneath it shining up to the ceiling, and then I tap the bowl and you'll see like a wave coming across here. I'll see if I can find that Crow 777 lunar wave video as well, but yeah, you'll see it coming across. Boom. So that's that little lunar wave. I'm just making observations. I'm not claiming that that is how it's been done. Here's a weird image of the moon acting strange. I'm not going to show that. I just want to see what else I've got to present. I can't even remember what I said in the beginning of the video. I might just listen back to what I said, because I did want to touch on a few other things. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to present. So what I'm suggesting is that the moon that we're seeing is a projection, the sun that we see is a projection, the stars are projections, all on that focus point around you, depending on the atmosphere conditions, which is, I don't want to give an exact distance, but if I get an idea, about 20 or 30 kilometers away from us is where we generally see that focus point, more or less, I think. It might even be further, might even be closer sometimes, but let's work on, say, 20 or 30 kilometers, and that's why the moon looks like it's the same distance as the sun, or the moon is the same distance as that focus point on the horizon, and so on, because I think that is going around us, and I hope that makes sense, what I'm trying to say there. I'm not trying to convince anyone of this. I'm just saying these are the observations that I've been making, and yeah, I would like some input. I would like some more ideas. Maybe you guys have got observations, and that tie in with mine, or that completely get rid of mine. But what I'm saying is that that's where we see until, and if we can, if we map the world, for instance, I think we can only map with our instrumentation or instruments. My wording is bad. Our instruments to that focus point, and then from that focus point we can now do a new measurement to the next focus point, and I think that's how we can map our world. So our world could be mapped, could work on a ball, but it could also work on a flat plane. Either way, it does work. As far as I understand, when we measure to that focus point, we don't detect any curvature, and I think that is where the whole flat Earth explosion has come from, is because we're not detecting curvature. And then there's that whole discussion of refraction, and it's being lifted up, and so on. So I don't think it's being lifted up. I just think we can't see through that actual lensing effect, which I am gonna show you. Did I show that image? I don't think I did. The edited image, let me just get that one. So that first image I showed in the beginning with the ball, here we go. This so these are two little balls. I think I showed a different image in the beginning, but here's these two. There's the background, but here's, this is in focus here where my mouse is, and this ball is in focus. This lensing effect. So with a camera we could zoom all the way till this point, but if we zoom into here, we can't zoom into that point. We can only make it bigger. So now this is the original image. This you can get from the internet. You can also go do this experiment yourself, but now I've edited this image slightly to show what I'm trying to represent, that we've zoomed into here, and now we're getting to the focus point over here, and then all of this is a lensing effect around us, all the way around us. What goes on at this point here, I think, is depending on those angles, these angle drawings. Where are they now? I think that all depends on this, and you on this, for instance, image, there could be another lensing effect behind that, which can create a new line across here, and we'll see, like, there could be a boat or ship further across the water, which we'll be able to see slightly in a view, a very narrow point, but you'll see that as well. And I think that is the second lens that's being magnified into this lens. That's what I think is going on there. So that is basically it. I hope I made sense. but yeah, I do understand it. This sounds really crazy. It's almost like a Truman Show. Um, it could sound insane, but it's just something I've been working on for quite a while, just through my observations. So yeah, if you liked it, great. If it became useful, great. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching, and see you then. Cheers.